Okay, so at this point I'm ready to insert a citation, and here's the sentence I'm working on. So the TMP36 is a low-cost, low-voltage temperature sensor that produces a linear output proportional to the temperature being sensed. Now, there's a lot in that sentence, and basically, I'm not the creator of the TMP36. I'm not the person who determined it should be low cost or low voltage or any of that. So I should provide a citation for my reader to go and find further information, and also to convince them that I'm not just making these things up. So a good citation to use when you're talking about a sensor or a physical thing you're about to buy is called the data sheet. So I have that open as well on this side of my screen, and we can see a couple of things. So first of all, the company name is Analog Devices. It says it is a data sheet. We can also see up here it says revision H. That might become relevant when I make my citation. And if we scroll down a bit, hopefully we can find when it was last published. But in this case, I don't think we're going to be able to. The best we have here is a range of dates from 1996 to 2015. And so we're going to have to extract from that some kind of way to make a citation. So let's go ahead and try to do that, and we'll see how we can use Word and the IEEE format to do so. Unfortunately, one thing we're going to find right away is that there is no data sheet citation. And so we'll take a look at a couple of options we have. The one we're actually going to be using is just called report. So I want to be here, so I'm clicking where I want my citation to go, which is just after the word sensed and just before the period. I want to make sure my cursor is there. And then I already have it up here on references, but you might be on home, and so if you are, you won't see the reference dialog, so you want to click here on references. And now it is a new citation, so I'm going to click insert citation. And you'll see I actually already have 4 citations in this document, and that's just so that you can see what happens once we have a bunch. And none of them are relevant because they're all personal communications or reports that we've written, and we want to add a news source. So I click on add news source. Okay. So options are here from type of source. Miscellaneous is not what I want. I don't just always want to use the miscellaneous report type. If I do that, then none of my formats are actually going to work. For example, if I'm using a journal article, I want the user to be able to find that journal article again, and the miscellaneous type simply doesn't have enough information. So let's click on this, and you'll see I have a bunch of options, and if I scroll up to the top, I have report right here. So I'm going to click on report. And you'll notice only a couple of things changed. The year, publisher, and city, which I'm going to be able to extract from this data sheet. So the author here, now notice how I have a corporate author option. Because I don't have a person who wrote this, I'm going to click on corporate author. And the corporation is Analog Devices. The title of the report is the TMP35/TMP36/TMP37 low voltage temperature sensors data sheet. So I want to make sure I have all of that information in there. It would be really nice if Analog Devices here told me that the title is this. They didn't, and so I'm going to have to provide as much information as I can for someone who's looking for this source to be able to find it. And this is sufficient. If you were to type this into Google, for example, you would find it right away. The year, like I said, if we scroll down in this document, we don't really have a year of publication, so we're going to assume this document was published at the last year that we can find, and therefore it will be 2015. Now this is important especially for data sheets, because if we're using an older sensor, there might be additional revisions of the data sheet that exist, but we want to be very, very clear that no, we're using one from 2003, perhaps that's when it was purchased, and therefore we need the data sheet from that time. But because in this particular case, just if you're wondering, we have the newest version of the sensor, I'm also using the newest version of the data sheet, so I want to demonstrate that to the reader. Now, publisher is a little bit weird for this because we have a corporate author and there's no real publisher. They publish themselves, basically, so we're going to use the corporate author as also the publisher. So Analog Devices is also the publisher, and I'll just go ahead and copy and paste that. And the city, we have it here, so it's Norwood, Massachusetts. So we're going to say Norwood, comma, MA. Now we do have additional fields if I really want to show them. I'll show you what happens when I click on this, but I don't really want to add anything more. This is sufficient information for a reader to find this datasheet if they were so inclined. So if I click on that, we have a ton of different options. Department, if we had, maybe it was a university and there's a specific department. Institution, again, maybe University of Waterloo, but it's not. Pages is sometimes important if there's a specific thing that I'm showing, but in this case I'm not. So I'm going to unclick that. I just wanted to lead the reader to the data sheet here. And so now I'm done, and I'm going to click on OK. And you'll notice that the citation has been added. It is correct numerically, so I have citation number 4 here, and the next citation that should come up is citation number 5. And it is at the appropriate location at the end of the sentence before the period.